Welcome back to the Movie Marathon Men. I'm Owen Garner.
And I'm Luke Carr.
We watch films that make us go, We're covering the Alien films, and today it's Alien. It's incredible, isn't it?
Yes. The reason it's a 10, because I think a lot of people will say that it's very ordinary, I suppose, in the story. Like, you're not like stories
quite simple.
Yeah. But it's purely in the execution of the characters. But the execution of the story is it's when you reveal the information and what information you reveal. And this film kind of knows what it is. It knows that it's a horror film in space.
Oh, no, I think it's great. I think at about 20 minutes in, we know everything that we should. We know who they are, what their vibe is, what each character's drive is, why they're here, like what's brought them here. But we don't know the reasoning behind it yet, which is perfect. And then at the halfway mark of the film, everything changes.
Yes.
And that is perfect. Like they've done it perfectly. And then what plays out in the rest of the film is also brilliant. They don't miss anything. And I mean, there are things that are done that work so well for me. Like John Hurt is given the main character introduction moment in such a fun way. Like it's the film is playing with you from moment one, and it knows it.
Absolutely. And it's that setup which is key in like a horror film. Because that's what it is, broadly. You have that bit every single time of the family move into the house or whatever it is. Yeah. And you need to establish who they are so you care about them, but also respect the audience enough to know we're not here for the family dynamic. So you need to kind of get it done as quickly as possible. It's the like,
I only watch horror for the plot. is like you need the plot for the other bit to be exciting.
That rom-com Conjuring. I just want to see them mend their marriage. It's a father-son bonding film.
Absolutely.
And when I say bond, I mean it's possessed.
Yes.
So in the same vein, in this film, they tell you about all the characters. They tell you where they are. They tell you who they are as quickly as they can, because they know, like, you're meeting the janitors. You only want 2 scenes with them. Yeah. You don't want to have to learn about their backstory over tens of minutes so that you can be afraid that they're going to die. So know who they are as quickly as possible so that you can get scared as quickly as possible.
But you learn about what society is like. It's a really interesting universe. There's a version of this film that isn't a horror film. That's just like an interesting sci-fi, like sort of political, like humanist story that's about like where society is. But they go, no, I'm going to throw something far more interesting into the mix.
The idea of it's a basic idea, I suppose, but just the idea of traveling out into some part of space, and finding an alien, finding something you didn't know existed, and having no answer for it.
It plays on basic human fears. Fear of the darkness, fear of the unknown.
But putting that in something that's so sci-fi. Putting something so animalistic in a very robotic world. It's perfect. It's just the best way to execute that. And you're absolutely right about the way that you say that John Hurt is introduced as like the hero. And you get the way the film unravels is as much in plot as it is in character, in the way that some people come to the front and some people fade away or whatever. They're believable. That's always the thing you have to ask for in a horror film is or like in a thriller, or when people have to act under pressure, is you have to make believable characters, because they can't make the perfect decision because that's unrealistic. So they have to make a bad decision. But you're watching it on like a sofa. And it's so easy to be like, oh, they're idiots.
Don't open the door. Don't open the door.
So you have to make the character a believable enough character where you go, they're going to open the door, and I've accepted that. If they were silly or just bad or underwritten, you'd be like watching it as you support the alien. You're like, I want to kill. Whereas you're watching it and you're like, you are scared. Like it's a serious film. It's not a silly 70s 80s action film. It's a serious film. For serious people.
One of the things that I love is they're also bored in this film for huge swathes of it. Because
I'm sure some people can empathise.
But because they're just doing their like everyday stuff, and they're like, oh, why are we awake? Like, they're annoyed to be there. They're like, God, this is an inconvenience. Like, little do they know. But I really, really liked them this time. I hadn't got as much from the rest of the crew. last time watching it.
This is a film that knows its limitations and it knows its strengths, and it never strays from one into the other, and it nails an aesthetic which I love, which is that like distressed sci-fi.
Yeah, that grimy, lived in, like I said, the corridors are very atmospheric. They add that, but there's a brilliant stark contrast between the sort of industrial and the clinical. So the bowels of the ship, well, they almost look like bowels, and then the sort of mother, the like big brother, like this time on the Big Brother house, where he goes into the like bit where they do their like piece to camera, like that bit is very much the sort of cerebrum of the ship. So that is very clinical, and that's white and stark and clean and light. The design of the alien hasn't aged a second. The effects on that are incredible,
and they've not changed it. They haven't like gone in Alien 5, we're gonna rewrite that, like there's a better way to do this. I can't believe we had this cheesy effect back in the 70s. This is as it was. This is perfect. They nailed it on go one.
So H.R. Geiger, who was the designer, that they got a lot of the ship to mimic the alien as well. So it was sort of hiding in the background quite a lot of the time and stuff like that. So sometimes on rewatches you can see it in different places at different points. You know, the whole ship looks kind of bio-organic. Even the title sequence sets the tone straight away. It's sort of like this alien language that's unfolding in front of us. You don't know what the word is going to be until it's complete. I think just things even from that early point in the film look incredible.
Oh, absolutely.
There are two versions of this film.
I've never seen the director's cut, I don't think.
So there's some stuff added in, and it contradicts stuff that they go on to in later films, stuff that Ridley Scott himself is in agreement with. So it's like, you know, it would be, you would watch that one if you only wanted to watch that one, and if you only ever wanted to watch that version, and it's not particularly better than the version that we have. As
the years go on, I have less, not time. What's the word? I
Patience.
give less grace to Ridley Scott's opinions on
You're not
things.
giving him the benefit of the doubt at all.
Just his whole Napoleon press tour, where they were like, "Oh, this never happened in real life," and he was like, "Were you there?"
Did he actually do that?
Yeah. I'll put some quotes on the screen here, but it's like the French. I remember one of them is like the French people are annoyed at Napoleon's historical inaccuracies at portraying the French badly. This and that. He put the camera to him, you know, and he goes, "The French don't even like themselves."
What?
It sets up a genre. It perfects it if it doesn't set it up.
But it does both.
Yeah.
It sets it up. It goes, here's what it is.
It starts a genre and then finishes it.
Yes.
Because this is still the one. This is
what a masterclass.
It's incredible. This is iconic and good.
It's incredible. It's unique, and as we say, it's left its mark on cinema. It's been homage, pastiched, parodied. There's a joke about this in Spaceballs. You know, it's so like throughout everything you can see the mark of this film. Alien, do I even need to ask?
No. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean, watch or not.
Yes, it's a watch.
This is. I mean, and not just for this series, but just in general.
I think, if you haven't seen this film and you're over the age of 12, you should watch this film.
Yeah.
Because it's good.
Yeah.
And it's influenced so many films. And in the future, you're going to talk about a film that's really original and has a really cool concept.
Yeah.
And then someone's going to be like, "Oh, this is just a rip-off of Alien."
Yeah, this is just.
And then you're going to seem like an idiot.
Yeah.
That didn't happen to me, of course.
Aliens. Straight away, things like the ice on the interior of the ship tells the story. You know, you can tell that she's been out for a long time, and also that she's been somewhat lost. The sort of chest-bursted dream that she has is really cool and makes sense. And then the 80s corporate reaction to the whole thing is brilliant. I really love that. It just being like sort of 80s macho man and 80s businessman who are calling the shots in this world. It works so well because we still see like, oh yeah, that kind of mentality is applied. They also call her an advisor.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a fun, well, I suppose, a sort of troubling parallel there to Vietnam, where they sent in advisors to Vietnam in the very early stages of that conflict.
Are you calling the Vietnamese aliens, Owen?
No, I'm saying that the 80s, macho man soldiers are very much the foolhardy American troops that were dropped in to Vietnam.
It's interesting you say America.
Yeah.
Because that is what James Cameron was for this film. Sent on a foolhardy errand to follow up Alien.
Yep.
Classic, beloved. Quite a while later. 7 years?
Yeah.
7 years later. So long enough that people are, well, leave it alone.
Yes.
But he's an American.
Yeah.
The crew is the same crew from Alien. So they were all the same curmudgeon-y, British,
idiosyncratic. But so, this is how I do this.
But in so they apparently hated him for a while.
I'm not surprised
he came in as bombastic American.
I've heard things about him on set, of not bad things, but that he has ways and he's very dynamic and he does this and this. I can imagine Nigel from Middlesbrough was having none of it.
Well, it was they brought Hollywood to Pinewood. Yeah. But they kept the crew there, and all the actors are obviously in this one. The actors are Hollywoody actors.
Yeah.
The last one, they were thespians.
Yeah.
So the crew were just grumpy the entire time.
Yeah.
Apparently, James Cameron tried to win them over because they didn't respect him. They were like, "You're not going to do a good job." He tried to win them over by saying, "I directed the Terminator. I'm going to screen Terminator tomorrow to show you that I can make a good film." And Terminator had just come out in the UK a year later at this point.
Right.
And it flopped. So apparently just no one turned up to the screening. So he tried to win their favour by showing them the Terminator film. Look, I'm great.
Yeah.
And they just didn't show up. And then they just, I guess, went back to set.
Went back to work. Oh, that's a tough day.
Yeah. But he did a good job.
Yeah.
A fool's errand.
Yeah.
But he smashed it.
He sticks the landing. I mean,
you're right. The story is incredible.
Yeah.
It's similar in how Alien ramps up the tension and how this one ramps up. It still is tension. It's tension in a different way. The last one was quiet tension. This is more loud tension. It sort of tricks you into being tense in the opening. Almost a red herring of having the soldiers be so cocky, be this and that. And only having Ripley as the one who knows how serious it is. And you're and that endears you to the main character as well.
Yes.
You're I see myself in the main character because I don't see myself in anyone else.
Yeah.
So you really are put in her shoes in that way.
Yeah.
I hope not, because they're probably quite sweaty and damp actually. You see the other characters unraveling in the same way and how quickly they go from cocky, we're gonna do this to just we need to stay alive.
Game over, man. Game over.
But just how quickly they went from we're gonna blow this thing to hell to just I want to see my mom. Just desperately trying to get out of there, not do anything, not save anything, just leave.
It goes in really, really kind of interesting new directions for this world from a story standpoint. It goes, okay, so here it is, kind of in isolation. What if it gets loose?
Have you ever been mistaken for a man? Have you?
That stuff just gets me. I'm simple. I have simple pleasures.
It makes me not happy. Okay, that's the difference actually. When I saw them dying in this film, I was a bit more excited, which took away the fear aspect.
And
that's not always bad.
Yes, but I will say to counter that, you have that of you're more excited watching them die because we're evil people, clearly. No, because they've been so macho, and you're no, I know better. Yeah. But then you have that of they've come in with this energy and then they're dying. You're oh, right. But then the half that are left, you have more compassion for because they're changed. And then they have this shift and there's one of them who's losing it, one of them who's buying into it, one of them who's redeemed, and so they have these different things that they're able to do. I Ripley in this I thought was brilliant.
Yeah.
Her resilience is displayed so well by her becoming a loader. Yeah. And that's at the top of the movie that you learn that. And so, you get so many great moments with her. I was going to ask if it was the kid that's in this movie that
was exactly what I was going to bring up. I was going to say, no, actually, I don't mind the kid in this one.
Yeah.
Kid's absolutely fine.
Because they don't talk much.
Yeah. I was fine with it, actually.
And,
this is surprising.
And actually, watching the special edition, you get more of a character arc for this kid. And there's a brilliant bit which is in production that I'll talk about with this kid, but it works. The kid is more of a production element almost. They're more of a prop of, it's said in horror, which often features children, that they make it more scary, they make it more important, because like, what's scarier than a scary thing? It's a scary thing threatening children. So that makes it seem more serious, because there's this child in it, in the line of fire, and you're like, oh my god, that's sort of ramping up the tension. It's like, oh my god, what if people were trapped? And it's like, but what if a child was trapped?
One fact that endeared me to that child is the scene where she's in the vent, or what she's in something. Slide down
in a sort of ventilation shaft. Yeah,
she kept messing up her takes so that she could go down the slide.
That's so good.
Just good fun.
That is so good.
Yeah, good job she didn't do that in the film, of course, because then she would have been caught.
I just want to go down the slide again.
It takes all the good things from the last one. Bigger, but not worse. Like, there was every opportunity they made this bigger and more CG and more bombastic, and then it shone a light on bad effects.
Well, I think James Cameron probably learned from Terminator. So when we talked about that film on production, there are some of the effects that kind of let it down a little bit. There are so many elements on production. The costumes are great. Yeah. The loader looks really cool. The alien is so menacing. And there's moments where the aliens are in more high lighted scenes, but they still look brilliant.
Yeah.
There are things that they've done where it's like, that could have not gone well, but it has.
And the directing and pacing of individual scenes, but equally just the whole film, allowed such like a natural flow of things. Like the film, you're never sat there watching a scene and thinking, oh, well, carry this up a bit, please.
I mean, just the sort of design of this whole film, again, stuff like the 80s guys, their suits, they're so 80s, but also so futuristic. So they have the collar turned up, and they don't have lapels, I think. And so it looks so familiar, but so, there's sort of it's familiar, but there's something different. The design of the Marines' ship, it looks like a rifle with a bayonet. It looks violent. It cuts through space. Whereas the kind of hauler that they're on in the first film, it's clumsy, it's lumbering, it's sort of sluggish as it moves through the frame. Whereas this is a knife. It's a javelin thrown at a planet, And so you have those elements. And then, as I said, with the kid, this production element that sort of tells her whole story. At the beginning of the film, she sees something, she screams, and her scream is sound matched with the howl of the wind, and it's perfect. And when production is done well, you can pick out bits and be like, this is the whole film.
You can just watch it, not for the first time, but on a rewatch, you can just go through this.
You could just start here,
and it concludes.
Yes.
So you're not in that sort of weird limbo of it's hard to rewatch just Lord of the Rings 2.
It's not the middle part of the trilogy.
What's happened. You're like, now I've finished it, I can't do I have to see 3 again? This one you can just finish it. You can start and end and go, I've done it. I've done an alien film. It was fun. James Cameron's pitch for this film.
Right.
He walks into the room and on a whiteboard he writes alien.
Yes, I have heard this.
He writes alien, looks at everyone, writes an S, and then puts a line through it to suggest a $sign. And that's his whole pitch.
Yeah. Bill Paxton didn't know that they were going to put his hand there.
Whoa.
Yeah. The HR departments on these films. Well, there probably weren't one. No, it was there was a mix-up. They got HR Geiger, the designer of Alien, and they were like, we thought that was enough. That joke sort of doesn't really work. It's only written down.
Watch or not, Owen?
I mean, this film is quite obviously a watch, and as you say, I don't think we could, in good conscience, suggest it as what to do, but you could just watch this. I don't think you actually do have to watch Alien. Like, I know in the last
in
the last film we said, oh, you have to watch Alien, but if you don't like slow burn sci-fi horror thrillers, but you do like sci-fi action,
yes,
you could just watch this.
You're absolutely right.
Alien Cubed. That's the thing that they've started doing. Well, I mean, clearly this started the trend. Men in Black Cubed also does it. I'm sure there are others. Why? Why do they do it? What is cubed?
Expected to answer that question first off.
It's so squared is like times by itself.
Times by itself, and then times that by the original one.
Right. Okay. So really there should. So if Alien, if that was going to be squared, we'd have like
2 aliens.
2 aliens. This should have lots and lots of aliens.
It should.
I've derailed this immediately.
To the alien are the inmates, not aliens.
Well, that's what I really like about the title Alien, because it's not what the species is, because it's not known really.
So Alien 3.
Yeah, because actually I have sort of stepped on the clarity of this video immediately as well. It's like, wait, what are they talking about? He's talking about Men in Black again. I'm actually wearing black.
The third Alien film.
Yes.
Now, I want to immediately make the distinction here of the theatrical cut and the assembly cut, because I watched the assembly cut a while ago and I watched the theatrical cut for the first time recently, and I have very drastically different opinions on both.
So I watched them both in this sitting.
Right.
I accidentally watched so on Disney Plus there are other streaming services available, of course,
but not for this film.
But not for this film. On Disney Plus they only have the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
Of these films. Straight out the gate, for me, this film has to justify its existence.
Oh, absolutely.
I liked the resolution of the second film. It's got things that it needs to do, and it does an interesting thing very quickly.
Yep, it's not even a spoiler to say it because
because it's in the opening.
In the opening scene. They don't undo the previous film. They just squish it. They kill everyone apart from Ripley.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. yeah.
They kill them all, and that's how it's... They kill everyone, and then the movie starts.
Yeah. I thought the intercutting of the credits was really cool.
Yeah.
I really liked that. So we should say, this film, directed by David Fincher, is this his first film?
Yeah.
So he'd done music videos before this, and this is his first film. He's sort of broken into that. He has since distanced himself from all cuts of this film.
He has said, I think, no one hates this movie more than he does.
I think that this film is really cool. A foreign planet that we see. That's the first that we've seen, really.
The fleas, the lice, the whatever they are.
Yeah.
Stuff like this. You see a lot on the planet's surface in the assembly cut that is 100% cut out in the theatrical.
Yeah.
What the film relies on, the same as Alien, is that you need to care about the prisoners, you need to care about the characters, you need to care about the world. Because it's really slow for the first half of this film. Like, it takes a while until it begins.
Yeah.
And that's fine in the assembly cut because they give you so much of like a unique vibe, and it's gross and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Beige. And like, it's so horrible, and like you're so like itchy watching it.
Yeah.
But they really like settle you into this film.
Yeah.
And then when it kicks off, you're already like in it, so you're invested. The theatrical cut skips over so many key scenes in that.
Yes, it really does.
Like, skips over so many of the establishing scenes.
Yeah.
So you're just seeing stuff without much context or without any emotional bearing, and then people start dying.
Yeah, the opening is longer. You get these beach scenes, and they tell you about the way of life.
Yeah.
They give context of how she's discovered, and more of the planet is shown. You have this kind of the Doctor, the character played by Charles Dance. He has this kind of Luke Skywalker moment where he's staring off into the horizon, and he has this moment of quiet. And then this shooting star lands, and oh wait, no, it's a shuttle. And so he has this sort of call to action. He has this moment at the start, and for me, that's really interesting from a story point of view.
But it's the world is what makes this. That's the It's expanding the universe by seeing humans on a different planet.
Yeah.
And they just you take all that away in the theatrical cut. You're just left with a boring set because you take away the fun parts.
A lot of the prisoners and what's going on with them doesn't make sense because they cut out like 2-minute scenes where they just say what they're doing and why they go into a place.
And they all have the same wardrobe and they have the same haircut.
Yeah.
So if you're never told their like name until they're about to die, and someone will go, Brick.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh, that's his name. Oh,
Yeah.
he's dead.
Yeah.
But in the other version,
he
had a monologue, or he had a scene, and then you learn about him. Oh no, it's Barik! He's about to die, and then the character goes Barik.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, you were learning that people existed as they died.
Yeah. We also get to see a different side to Ripley, which is really nice.
Yeah, her left side.
Her left side. They always shot from the right. It was weird. No, you know, she has more sort of softer moments, you know, and she's allowed those in this film, which I think is really interesting. In the first two, she kind of has to be resilient and strong, and they're never letting up. Whereas in this film, she lets up for a moment, and you get to see what she looks like with her guard down.
Yeah.
There's a great sadness to her as well, which makes sense. But yeah, I just think it's really good. They're real. They're flawed. They're redeemable. Some are beyond saving. They're conflicted. They're blinded.
I think it captures a very weird energy, this whole film.
Yeah.
Like, because everyone, including Ripley, is almost sort of ready to die.
Yeah.
But doesn't want to die.
Yeah.
And it's like they're sort of burdened by this ridiculous threat. Because it feels like genre mashing.
Yeah.
It feels like in universe genre mashing of like this weird space alien thing on spaceships that's now in this old world of like, I don't know, it's
well, you know, so they've all found religion. This kind of could be an allegory for purgatory.
Yes, actually.
They're sort of trapped in that limbo, that transition, and this is their final challenge, I guess. Which version of this film should you watch?
Well, I mean, that's the assembly cut.
And is this film, with that in mind, a watch or not?
It is harder than it maybe sounds, I suppose, because on a quality point of view, yes, it's good.
Yeah,
I like it. On a relevance point of view, I'm tempted almost to say you can skip it.
For me, I love this film. For me, it is a watch.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think it's really interesting, just in the film, but also just outside of it. Of like, this is Fincher's first film, and it's just so interesting to see what's gone into it. As I say, I love all these British actors. So for me, it is a watch because I really, really like it. And for me, that trilogy, that works really well. So I watch it in that kind of way. It's Alien Resurrection.
I will say, if someone described it to me, I would enjoy the sciencey elements, the experiments, that gore, the different type of gore.
There's one specific bit that in isolation works really, really well.
Yeah.
Of the science bit with the button and the hand over the button.
Yep.
That bit works. There are bits of this.
Exactly.
My first note on story is what's going on.
Yeah, that's
like this film is. And the first time that we watched this together, we were like entering delirium. We'd done an actual marathon. This was at like 2 a.m. We were trying to like power through. It was such an odd. What's going on? It can't be like this. It surely can't.
There's no way this is the follow-up.
And watching it in just normal daytime and seeing it, I just it's like what is this film?
With sober eyes, I watched this film.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's really weird. There's some individual points that pull it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically just the science experiment stuff. In the same token, it makes it less scary. Makes it creepy. Doesn't make it scary in the way that the first one is. Like it's in the shadows.
I wrote that it felt like the script had been in a few different hands. It feels like there are different passes that have been done on this film. There's an action version of this film. There's a science version of this film. Yeah. There's a more traditional alien version of this film. I hate that Ripley is in this film.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against Ripley. It's nothing against Sigourney Weaver. But that they've put her in the story, what they've done with her in the story, I just hated. There's a version of this film where you've taken her out. Yeah. And I would love to sit down in an editing suite and change this film because there is an interesting film in there. There's a good film that you could salvage, where it's more about the science thing, but they sort of tack on Ripley's story. They sort of shoehorn it in. It has to be, Ripley has to be there because it's an alien film.
As well as every criticism you just leveled at it.
Yeah.
It devolves into just Alien.
Yeah.
Just Alien 1.
Yeah.
Except there's 12 of them, but it is just Alien 1 in that they're on a bigger ship, but it's a similar they're just running away from Alien.
Yeah.
It's not good.
No. This is a sort of like they let a kid write a movie and then they didn't like make any edits.
It just feels like such a bizarre thing to exist because there's no direction behind it. I don't mean the director. I know we're on character here, but there's no thrust. Yeah. And that goes into the characters. They are just people to be killed or to say entertaining lines in quotation marks,
which have aged like milk because written by Joss Whedon, sort of joke machine that he is. They're very quippy and like sort of early Marvel kind of style, but they just don't work. They're just slogans. They're just cliches. Like but you can't like respond to a cliche with a cliche with a cliche with a cliche. Like, it just doesn't work. You can't do that. There's a lot of airlocks in these movies. They come into it quite a lot. I can think of the first one, the second one, not the third one, but
I suppose they're just listening to doors in space.
Yeah,
like if there was something set on Earth, you go, "There's a lot of front doors in this movie."
yeah. But I mean, you don't open your front door. Like there are
if
some.
If there was an alien in this house, I'd let it out.
I don't know what to respond to that because you can't say that a normal door on a ship is comparable to the airlock. That's insane. We're just going to cut all that door stuff out.
No, we're keeping it in.
No, we're cutting out that door stuff. That's mental. I just have no response to your door stuff.
It'd be quite a long response.
Yes, so let's ask the question: is this film a watch or not? You look tired.
That was a weary.
Yeah.
You've asked this question.
Yeah. It's a not watch entirely.
Yep.
Don't watch Amelie and then think, oh wow, that guy did an alien movie? Cool. No. Don't watch this film at all. I can't sort of unrecommend this film. I wish I hadn't watched this film and I've had to watch it twice. Prometheus.
I actually think it's the first film, and I include Aliens, the first film to go in an interesting direction, like a cool, interesting direction.
Right.
That is not retreading. Because Aliens is great and it expands, but this is the first one to go and do something completely different and establish actual lore.
Yes.
Because every other one is just an alien's loose.
Yeah.
Or aliens are loose. Yeah. Whereas this one, it does something interesting. It is not a 10. It is not a 9. It is not an 8 because not all of what it sets up lands fine, and the pacing's a bit off as well, to be honest. But the premise, I actually really enjoy.
You're right. It goes in interesting, different directions. But then there is that thing in the background that they're doing again. But there are parts of the story that really work for me. There are a few different balls of tension up in the air. And so they've got the few different things that are going that sort of set it up to have more success. Of like, there are more things that are going to hit, more things that are going to land. Of like, this is going to be bad, isn't it? And then they cut away from it, and you're like, oh god, that's simmering away in the background. And then they set up another thing.
This is paced differently than other Alien films because whilst it's ramping up, they're not trapped on the ship as they often are. It's like it's over there. It's this other alien ship, and it's like this. Oh no, there's something in my eye, and like whatever. Like it's a bit different in how it kills people and how it gets hold of them. It's not perfect, and I think the big criticism that everyone has, like I see it all the time. I saw it since it came out. I remember watching like CinemaSins videos on this when it came out, and there was all this criticism of like, oh, the scientists are so stupid. How do they do this? How do they do that? And in some instances, sure, I agree. In other instances, I think the film is reasonably clear that like these are not supposed to be top of the line scientists. These are the people that signed up for like a mission to the other side of the galaxy.
It's like they've been asleep for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like that's not top drawer scientists.
These are the people that just need a job. The people who are rejected from respectable universities on Earth.
Yeah.
And just need to be like, oh, I'm going to practice my cartography somewhere. And
Yeah.
like, oh, this rich guy just needs someone to sleep for 2 years.
Yeah.
Go on an unexplored alien planet, sleep for another 2 years to come back.
One of the characters literally says that.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just here for the job.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not here. I just like rocks.
Yeah.
Like, that's just my thing.
So the criticism of the characters being stupid to drive the story, I get a little bit in the instigation, like the thing that starts the story is characters making dumb decisions.
Yeah.
But they're dumb characters.
Yeah.
And that might not work for you, but it's not a plot hole.
No.
It's not a gotcha.
Yeah.
It's on purpose. And if that doesn't work, that's fine.
Yeah.
There's a lot I really like about this film, and there's a lot of bad execution that brings it down from being really high.
Well, there was a lot that was cut out of this film. There's also a lot that you need to really understand this film that was released on YouTube. Who would put anything there? You know, like one of the characters does a TED talk, which is on YouTube. Like that's, I guess, is a DVD extra, but at the time would have been released on YouTube, like kind of concurrently with the film. But there are bits, and there are lots of deleted scenes as well. Basically, Ridley Scott made a 4-hour movie and then was told, no, you can't put out a 4-hour movie. What are you doing? So he's had to cut out loads of stuff. So the story suffers from that, because there's a lot of show don't tell storytelling that's ended up on the cutting room floor. So we're just left with the tell storytelling of just people doing exposition at each other. But all of the sort of silent moments, the space in between, that's gone. That's out the door. So, or out the airlock. There are sort of questions that this film answers that I didn't want answering. So also the story is lower for me for that. But I can't take away from what the story actually just does well.
In an opposite way to Alien 3 that we talked about, it's a very vibes sort of story in a way. This one, where it is just sort of chucking up philosophical questions as if it's the deepest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And it's going, ooh, die. There's a lot of... David's incredible, of course.
Yeah, David is incredible. Michael Fassbender gives an incredible performance here, and that's a new kind of character. The androids, it's Ash, Bishop. It's probably the one from Resurrection.
Whose name we don't know.
His name we don't know.
Call. Like a phone call.
Call me. But it'll begin with a C, and then David. They're working their way through the alphabet. That's fun.
I actually love the look of this film.
Yeah.
I think the scale they get out of it is great. Like the understanding of making things look massive.
That's exactly what I wrote on scale.
I think it's fantastic. And you know, people still look sweaty and horrible. You have that still,
like we do. I'm quite sweaty right now.
But they look as you'd want them to look.
Yeah.
They're not pristine Hollywood actors in studios.
Yeah.
They might be in a studio, I don't know where they are, but like they look like they're on set on an alien planet, and the technology in the alien ship and all around it looks great.
It all looks
tangible.
Right, doesn't it?
Yeah. And they've hit a theme and they've just stuck with it, and they've gone all in on it, and it works for me. There's one sequence that strongly sticks in my mind, which it taps into maybe a slightly different part of alien horror and gore that we've seen before. Like, they haven't done as much body horror.
Yes.
Or frantic body horror. They did the one...
Oh, right. I know what you're talking about now. I thought you were talking about a different bit, because there is more body horror in this.
And the way they kill... Someone dies with a flamethrower. I know they do that, maybe no one's... But, like, it's not... They focus on the brutality of killing in this one a bit more. And everyone feels very... killable.
Everyone feels so fragile. Again, you know, scale is used to make them feel small and weak, but the world is dangerous and sharp, and they're just these little blocks of butter wandering around. Watch or not.
This is the hardest one we've done, I think. I think you watch.
I've said not.
Watch.
Well, that was concise. No, it's a not watch for me. Alien Covenant. I wrote in my notes, can I put slow burn again? I mean, that cryotube went up pretty quickly.
James Franco.
You know, one of the things that I've written in this is, if you made a 4-hour movie, why have you done that? Because you're not going to be able to make a 4-hour movie, because this is, I don't know how long is 2 hours, an hour and a half.
It's too long.
Well, it's too long.
But it should have been 0 minutes.
It was never going to be as long as the story that he wrote. I've written that this film felt like it had the hand of an editor on its shoulder the whole time. And it just chopped to bits. There's so much, you know, I talked about it with Prometheus. There are all these little clips that went up on YouTube and stuff. There are more for this one, and more that are essential to the meaning and message of this film that are cut out. They're at the beginning and at the end. And so what's the point, man?
I felt like this film was sort of, what's the word? It was improvised. This film felt like people were just throwing out plot points and like character decisions just on a whim.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like everyone, like when they got to the planet and they met David and all this sort of stuff, it felt like they just like they accidentally wrote themselves into a corner on the day. Yeah. And it's just fights and this like it was very unfocused. I actually didn't mind the setup that much on this one. I felt like in every single one of these films, they're killing most of the characters. That's the point.
Yeah.
They have to balance always setting up the characters so that you care about them and not being boring.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote that at half an hour in, not much has happened.
Not much at all has happened. But the issue is you don't care about any of the characters. They don't give you anything to care about any of them apart from like the main 2 or 1 or whatever, you know. So when they then start killing, you're like, oh, it's an hour in. They've only just started killing.
Yeah.
But equally, I don't know that much about these people. You're like, other ones of these alien films, they've started killing way earlier, and I've learned more about them in the shorter amount of time.
Yeah.
But then they don't actually, like, go anywhere. I remember thinking, like, as it was reaching the finale, I was like, oh, this is ending.
Yeah.
I sort of thought there was going to be... I thought there must have been another act. I was, like, watching it thinking was that it? Was there not another one? Was it not a plot point?
Well, I mean, we can also say that he thought he was getting a trilogy.
Yes.
So Prometheus had the response that it had, and he went, "Oh, what, you wanted action? Oh, I'll give you action then." You know, he was out the pubs on the Friday night. He was nutting people in the street, and he was right. Come on in. Here's a new film. Oh, have it. This is the Aliens to Prometheus's Alien. There's more action in this one. There's more sort of cannon fodder. It's more, there's stuff happening. Okay, how about that? Yeah, but it wasn't interesting stuff, really. And, you know, the David stuff is a more interesting story. But when you drill down into it further, it's telling me too much about a thing that I didn't want to know about. You know how this character that you've always known had a red cloak? Oh, yeah. Do you want to know how they got that cloak? No, not really. I mean, I'd never questioned it. So Little Red Riding Hood went to the shop one day, and you're like, right, okay, this is not what I needed.
You're clearly not a Hoodwink superfan.
I've not seen it. No.
Yeah.
Like, is it in the first one where a body's ejected into space and it spins like crazy?
Yes.
And it looks really silly and it's really jarring and distracting in that scene because it's supposed to be like sad.
Yeah.
And this thing's like, you know that meme where like the little girl rolls off the swing and like keeps rolling forever and it goes do and strike. Yeah. It's that. Like the body gets ejected out and goes and so this one, it gets ejected out and it looks normal. It goes straight because there are no forces acting on it. So did they eject it out but put a little spin on that thing to make it go out? Or
because as we've discussed, this film has no atmosphere. Alien 1 did a great job of establishing an atmosphere.
There is just so much at play.
Tense. Yeah.
The Alien movies, there are different watch-throughs that you could do. So there are choices. So it does come down to preference. But for me, my watch-through, Alien, Aliens, Alien Cubed. Alien 3. Yeah, that's my watch-through.
That's it. I think there are 2, and it is Alien, Aliens. Stop. and then the second one is Alien 3, and then I do think you watch Prometheus.
Yeah, but Prometheus contradicts Alien 3.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I've forgotten that, so everyone else will too. Push it down.
Right, what's the next bit? Well, today we've just come to the cinema. We've gone to see Alien Romulus. We are just out of the cinema, so here is our fresh thoughts. We've not spoken about it yet. We've just been faffing around trying to set up this setup. We're lit. It's quite spooky, really. It's quite intense.
I typically think of spooky being dark and dimly lit and horrible, and this is sort of more like I'm standing in a lamp.
Yes, it's two moths coming to you with their opinion on this film. Yes, we've not yet spoken about it. I mean, the lighting in the film, we can start there, was incredible.
Yes, it was. It was.
It looked absolutely fantastic, and there would be bits in the film that looked like this, shadows cast over faces.
This is thematic, not poor.
Are you sure you want to do this? There she is. You want to break in and steal highly regulated equipment.
I loved it. Like, the whole feel of the movie
was
what I wanted it to be.
It was a very mature movie, not in its age rating, just in how it showed everything. It was very minimalist in a good way. It was very barren.
What is the thing that has stuck in your mind most from the film? Be it like
there's a clear answer.
Single yes. Yeah.
If anyone has already seen this film, there's such a clear answer.
Yeah.
What I was actually concerned about up until that part, or even like the last 30 minutes, I think the last 30 minutes ramped up incredibly well. I thought, I sort of like detached a second from the tension of the film, and I thought, it's not a standard Alien film, but it is just like, it was hitting all the marks, and I was like, the scares are here, the ship looks like this, it's really cool, it's incredibly well done, but I thought I might forget this film entirely in about 6 months, like completely.
Yeah, there was a worry. I mean, so we were talking earlier about the Final Destination movies.
Yeah.
And I saw one review that said, wow, they really made the same film 5 times. They found their formula and they stuck to it. And for that kind of film, I respect it. But for an Alien film, you maybe want something slightly different. So Alien and Aliens are very different, but both are great. Whereas this, I agree with you, at the first half.
It took bits of everything. There was even bits of Prometheus in here.
Yeah.
There's a bit of Alien Resurrection.
There is.
There's a bit of
which I was not expecting.
No. So there's bits of all of it are in here, but I thought that it served the film whilst I was watching it, but I thought it might just leave it forgettable.
Yeah.
As good as it is, I thought it might be forgettable, and then it just kept going. And it kept being tense, and then it threw one final disgusting curveball.
Yeah,
that means I won't forget it.
Yeah.
So that's the answer.
Yeah. I loved this film, but I don't think I'll see it in the cinema again.
I don't have the mental strength to see it in the cinema again. I think you said before about how gory it is. This is going back into, I suppose, a positive for some. A negative for others, in just that they won't like it. There are some people who will not like this film because it is a bit more disgusting than it is scary.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculously tense.
My nose is about to start dripping.
Speaking of disgusting, I think it's the closest the Alien films have got to an 18. You said it was surprising it was a 15.
Yeah.
It's on you.
Yeah.
What did I like about this film?
There was a lot to like.
Yes, I'll say it's quite. I don't know if it's slow to get going, or if maybe you know what it is. Actually, I think our discussions about this feeling like other Alien films meant that I was seeing the opening, and I hadn't seen this exact opening. It is different, the setup of why they're there and who they are, or whatever. But it still felt like settled in for the Alien opener, like every horror film you move into the new house. let's all in for this.
Like as I just said, Final Destination. You do the like, let's meet all the people.
Yeah.
This one's unlikable, so you're gonna like it when they die.
Exactly.
And but you know you're watching a Final Destination movie, so you know that everyone's gonna die in a silly way.
Yeah.
When you know that you're watching an Alien movie, you know that everyone's gonna die in a gory, like killed by an alien kind of way. So you sort of you kind of want them to be already on their way.
Yeah, and it's difficult because you want everyone to not like them, but to get to know them before you kill them. But at the same point, like it just took a while. I felt even in the cinema, giving all the goodwill I had, I was still kind of like, like the guy that you're not supposed to like, they kind of laboured on it. He does about 7 things that you're like, oh, I don't like him now. Then he keeps going and he keeps going, and then obviously
because at one point you're like, oh, I don't like him, and then they like give the reason. And you're like, oh right, okay, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and then he undoes it.
Then he gets worse.
He gets worse. Then it's like oh right, yeah, you've done the work for me to like sympathise and empathise with him. And nope, he's undone it.
This place gives me the creeps. What the hell is this?
I don't know.
I think the film is incredibly well made. I don't think I'll watch it very soon again.
Oh really?
I don't, and that's not even because I can pick a particular criticism. I just think I had enough Alien. I don't think this brought too much new.
We have watched, and I would say we sort of 50-50 enjoyed and disliked.
Yeah.
So I think that's maybe slightly our patience for these movies has dwindled as we watched them. They were enjoyable. Yeah. Until they weren't, and we watched quite a few of the ones that weren't enjoyable. Quite recently, because it's at the back end. I can understand that. I mean, it will be added to my watch through, I think.
If I was to recommend to someone, this is getting included because there's only there's 2 definite watches in the Alien series, and then there's 4 depends on the person.
Yes.
This is a 3rd good one. There are 3 undeniably good Alien films, and this is one of them.
Well, Alien Romulus, do you think that they are angling for Alien Remus, and do you think that they'll get it?
The issue for me will just be I genuinely don't know what you do with an Alien film next. I actually have no idea. You've done Aliens, it's on there's loads of them. There were loads of them in this one actually as well. But Alien 3, they're on a disgusting planet. It's back to basics. But
also there's more people.
Time.
That's the kind of difference there in that one, I think.
Resurrection is like future and it's a science base. Prometheus is the origin story. Covenant is like sort of more of that, but similar to Resurrection in a way. Like, I don't actually know what they do. I don't know where you put it. I mean, they're doing Earth.
Because they're going to do it on Earth.
But what do you do after that? I actually have no idea. Put it on another spaceship. We've done that. Thrice. So I actually just don't know what a sequel looks like. But it'll probably be all right.
I think so. It'll probably be well made, and we'll probably go and see it.
Well, that is the issue, isn't it?
We
will go see it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I would say we had a lot of fun at the cinema.
More than
we enjoyed
it.
So I would. Oh, most certainly. So yeah, I think it's a watch in the cinemas.
Oh, it is.
Well,
it is.
we'll be back with another cinema trip. The best way to keep up to date with what we're doing here on the channel is to like and subscribe to the channel, and then you'll know exactly what we're going to be up to. Well, thank you for watching. We've been the Movie Marathon Men. Goodbye.